Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Writer-director Frank Darabont is a good friend of ours here at TCM, and he's joining me tonight to talk about a slate of culturally important science fiction movies from the 1950s. Frank, thank you very much for being here. Frank, of course, the writer-director of Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, The Mist, creator of The Walking Dead. Sci-fi, though you made these prison movies, sci-fi, that was your genre as a kid, and that's where your real passion is.
Yes, and that passion has never left me. It's always been there.
So this is from 1951, the day the Earth stood still. Why is this an important sci-fi film?
I think the simple answer to that is that science fiction was viewed as mostly, I mean, in the silent era, there was one attempt made, and that's Metropolis, to do an incredibly intelligent, meaningful science fiction movie for adults. American studios tended to view, I mean, they were churning out stuff like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers, which were fun, but meant for 10-year-olds.
Campy serials.
Campy serials. And Day the Earth Stood Still is, to my knowledge, the first time that somebody really made a movie for grown-ups with some incredibly potent thematic underpinnings and a lot of intelligence.
So this and also War of the Worlds coming up later, clearly influenced by the era, which may have spurred the quality of the sci-fi, the science part of science fiction was very much on everybody's mind, because it was science that created the atomic bomb and suddenly made human extinction seem much more real and much more of a threat.
Accessible, yeah, for sure. But as much as the science of science fiction was on everybody's mind, I think what makes the best science fiction movies is the human story being told, the humanity of the piece. They tend to be the best ones I find tend to be very sociological. They're holding up a mirror to us and saying, here, look what's here. You know, take a look at yourselves. Take a look at what's inside. Let's examine that. And I think that's one of the things that this movie, Day the Earth Stood Still, does particularly well.
One of the great things about this movie, too, is that there's no time wasted.
None.
This movie begins.
Yes.
And what does it begin with?
The arrival of an emissary.
Right.
From outer space named Klaatu, and he has his, played brilliantly, I thought, by Michael Rennie, and his robot, his companion, Gort. And as much as that sounds a little bit like a, dime store kind of name, it has a very serious purpose. He's here to deliver a message. He comes from above. He comes from the heavens to deliver a message of peace, and in that, I've always, I'm not the first one to say this. This is a very interesting retelling. The thematic parable being done here is really the Christ story, and anybody who looks at it from that standpoint will see the events are very clear. It's a science fiction retelling, in a way.
So the first line, to that point, so the first line of the movie is, holy mackerel, get the lieutenant, because they see something shows up on the radar, right? And then that's followed, I guess, by the lieutenant saying, we don't see any of these people, we just hear them. And the lieutenant says, Holy Christmas.
Right.
So that's your first indication.
Yes.
Right.
Little tidbits there.
There is more later,
yes.
which we'll get to after the movie, and also that the production code office, the censors, they weren't thrilled with the Christ comparisons.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they tempered them, which we'll get to again after the movie. So you thought Michael Rennie was terrific?
Oh, I thought he was bliss. He was terrific. That's another indication of how much of a A-picture mentality this movie had under Robert Wise's brilliant direction. The casting was great. Patricia Neal was amazing. Everybody felt real.
Do you remember when you saw it first? You obviously would have seen it either as a re-release or on television.
It was on television when we first got to Los Angeles. The local stations were always playing these science fiction or horror movies, the Universal monster movies, on weekend matinees, and that's where I really got most of my early taste for it and early film education in it. So I'm certain I saw Day the Earth Stood Still the very first time when I was about 5. I've seen it, I can't count how many times I've seen it since then. It's one of those that I never hesitate to go back to and revisit and re-experience. There's that handful of films that never lose their power, and that's one of them.
Frank, great stuff. We'll talk more after the movie. Here it is from 1951, directed by Robert Wise, Michael Rennie, and Patricia Neal in The Day the Earth Stood Still. Back with me once again to discuss The Day the Earth Stood Still, 3-time Oscar nominee, writer, director, producer Frank Darabont. Frank, as always, good to talk to you.
Thank you.
So clearly there is a Christ-like theme here. We talked about Rennie comes to Earth, a mission of peace, right?
A message of peace. He gets roughed up. They kill him. He's resurrected.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was a big one.
He goes back into the sky where he came from, promising to return. I mean, the parallels are pretty strong.
And he takes the clothes of Major Carpenter.
Yeah.
His name is John Carpenter, JC.
Yep.
So what do you think it is that the production code office objected to?
Honestly, I'm dying to know, because I have. It seems like a pretty sincere theme to work into a movie. Seems like a pretty.
Yeah, and religion's such an important part of the movie, too. So what the production code objected to was the resurrection.
Really?
So they forced that line where when Gort brings Klaatu back, where Klaatu says, it's only temporary. Like, that to them was enough to say...
Really?
Yeah, like, this is just a robotic thing. Who knows how long it'll be, but it's different. Somehow that made it okay. Palatable to the censors.
Oh, right. Yeah, studio notes.
What stands out to you most about The Day the Earth Stood Still? We know it was the first important sci-fi movie of the 50s, but it isn't merely important because it was first.
No, I think it would be important for, a number of reasons, but one thing that does spring to mind, going back to my theory that every movie is a snapshot of the era in which it was made, that gives you insight into that era, that it was really a warning, not a warning from outer space, or out of space, as the poster would tell us, but really a warning about this incredibly powerful technology that has been developed as a result of World War II, where that could create the extinction of the human race. That was very much on everybody's minds, and this was a very adult way of saying, hey, we should be maybe not doing this stuff anymore. Maybe it's time for us to leave our childhood behind and start to act like grown-ups. We're still waiting for that to happen, of course. But
all these sci-fi movies, sci-fi television shows, Star Wars, all of these, and they draw from many sci-fi films, but all of them owe a very specific debt to The Day the Earth Stood Still.
It's one of the great-grandfathers of, I think, everything that came after, that attempted to tell a story of the imagination, speculative fiction, as Harlan Ellison called it, in a serious manner. And those movies are like, they're just a balm to my soul. They really are. Even when I was a kid, I relate beyond, look how cool the spaceship is, and look how cool Gort is, and his I-beam and all that stuff. Even at a very young age, I thought, well, this is some really serious stuff that's being presented to us, and I really appreciate it. I just took all that stuff in.
Frank, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, a 1953 classic based on the novel by H.G. Wells, the winner of the Academy Award for Best Special Effects. From 1953, The War of the Worlds.